I'm Shirakawa from Uyonso. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. As mentioned in other videos, is it common for drivers at horse transport companies to move to competitors? In other industries, isn't there a thing where you sign a contract saying you won't work for a competitor? Well, for each company.
I'm not entirely sure about how things work for others, but in our case, we always have them sign that document. Additionally, there's an implicit rule in the industry not to poach employees from direct competitors. So leaving and then immediately moving to another company has been pretty rare. It's not unheard of, but returning
Has happened, right?
Returning, well, we have the most cases, not just us, but this industry has many people returning, which is probably the answer, yes. For example, someone leaves our company, since there's a basic rule against poaching, and I don't know if all drivers know this, they move to another industry first, then if it doesn't work out or doesn't suit them, well, it depends on why they left. Instead of just returning, they might actually approach a competitor and ask for a job opportunity. It's a very small world, so we always know which company they were at and what their reputation is. Sometimes it's, sure, come on in. But others are told, no way, by every company. So if
They put one other company in between, it's okay? That
implicit rule. I'm reconsidering my stance on that, or rather, it's something that needs to be addressed. Some people think it's necessary, but others don't see the need at all from the start. So there are companies that say such rules aren't needed. As I've said before in my videos, it's definitely dangerous. It's a job where people's lives are truly at stake. But honestly, and I know current drivers might get mad at me for saying this, it's really all about your perspective. It can actually be quite easy. I think I mentioned that technicians at body shops, the ones who build cars, often find it difficult, but for craftsmen with the same set of skills, it's like staying in the same world. Once you really learn it, it's easy, I guess.
I don't know if this is the right way to put it, but you know where to slack off.
I think so. You know, the longer you're in it, the more you really start to learn and understand how to manage and handle the job, right?
You learn to be efficient.
Well, rather than going to a new world, staying here, that might be a big factor.
Especially when you're in your 40s or 50s, even if you're a driver, starting in a completely new field. Even if only the cargo changes, the way things are done is different, so it's tough, right?
That might be true for just about any industry or job. Yes, even within the broad category of long-haul drivers, many people end up moving to companies that are carrying similar types of cargo. It's really the same in any industry. From the outside, an unfamiliar industry can look the same. But what you actually do is completely different, completely different. They might be the same trucks, but heavy-duty and small vehicles are totally different. And even with trucks now, there's automatic and manual. And automatics are becoming more common, so that's completely different too. The build varies by dealer, or rather by manufacturer, and
it changes completely depending on the customization, doesn't it?
That's right. I mean, old cars and new cars are also just totally, yeah.
Even for the same horse van, the same large 12-meter size, it still varies, right?
That's true.
Even if the manufacturer is different, each company probably has its own specific points they focus on. Things like how the joints are or how the welding is done probably come up. Lately,
the horse vans have changed in appearance, but they look like sightseeing buses, don't they? The old ones do. And even with sightseeing buses, they might all look the same, but there's the kind where you go up steps from the moment you get on, and the kind often used for city buses. The driver's line of sight is completely different. The height is, so many things are different. If your line of sight changes even a bit, the way you drive changes too.
Quite a bit. Thinking about it that way, staying in the same industry is the easiest.
Right, because you already know how things work. Obviously, even within horse transport, there are only 2 companies in Hokkaido that go to Kansai, including us. So our operations are similar. In Kanto, there are 3 companies including us that are almost the same, but the routes are completely different. The customers we usually visit are different, so you have to learn those roads and such. Depending on the company's way of doing things, the arrival times for certain places will differ. It's about that much. There are some slight differences in how things are handled, but racehorse transport and our long-distance transport are completely different again, though, well...
True, with racehorse transport you might not touch the horses, or rather you're not allowed to. But then if you go to ohe transport, you absolutely have to touch them. So yeah, those kinds of differences do come up.
For racehorse transport, you have to have a groom on board. You have to communicate with someone who isn't a colleague. But in our case, you just need to communicate with your fellow driver in the cab. On the flip side, spending so much time in close quarters has its own difficulties, but you don't really need the ability to communicate with people outside the company as much.
It's a matter of what you choose, I guess. So while every place is tough at first, in my experience, if you've been through the hardest part, everything else feels easier. You think compared to how hard it was then, so I think it's best to go to the toughest place first. I don't know which one is the toughest, they're all hard, but if you do one of them and build up some experience, you'll be fine even if you go somewhere else. I think it's good to think about career building in that way. I wonder if people think about their careers like that. Yeah.
In this industry, the drivers who choose to join us are like that as well. They have often held very responsible positions in a variety of different industries, or have done physically demanding and challenging work. In many ways, some people think there's no job easier than this, while those who've never experienced it probably find it tough. But if you have the experience of having struggled before, it'll serve you well elsewhere, or rather, you can apply it or you can endure it.
That's true. Yeah, I think that's very often the case. Yeah.
They say you should seek out hardship while you're young, and I really think that's true.
Having various experiences when you're young will definitely pay off later on.
It definitely broadens your horizons in life. That's right.
I wonder if those are the people who end up staying with the company.
In a sense, it's also about whether you're a good fit. Even if someone hasn't been with us long and is still at the stage of having a lot to learn, they might leave for another job for some reason, realize they can't handle such a tough job, and come right back. So, while it's partly about being a good fit, there's also the matter of
how comfortable the workplace is, I suppose. Well, in those
cases, they realize they didn't think being a driver in the real world would be this hard. They realize how easy it was at our company. It's not just about being easy. Lately, and even more so going forward, it's a big deal whether a company is trying to comply with the law for its drivers. It's actually a factor in deciding whether to stay long term. People come back because our company is solid and makes that effort. Some people feel secure here, while others might go elsewhere and think, I can't do this. I don't even know how long this exploitative company will last.
Yes, that's probably common. It's fine to have dreams about ohe.horseline, but the reality is quite risky, as we discussed in a previous video. So,
things like harsh conditions and unpaid overtime are common even at major firms, and not just in the trucking industry. That becomes experience. It broadens your horizons. Some people want to stay in that environment because they feel it's a company where they can gain good experience and grow as a professional. Well, some people just really dislike it, perhaps because they feel it's exploitative or simply too hard for them. Certainly, companies that break the law in that way, by exploiting workers or ignoring regulations, won't last long at all. But those who see it as a valuable training ground, something they're actually grateful for, are probably already thinking about their next step anyway. In many ways, it truly is better to face and overcome hardships while you're still young, because those experiences help you grow and learn important lessons for the future.
ohe.horseline has many people coming back too. On the flip side, there were people from other companies who wanted to join us, right? Some even wanted to come here after reaching retirement age.
Yeah, so from their perspective, our company probably looks quite good. Well, drivers talk to each other a lot within the industry, so they hear things. Some people come to us because they don't agree with their company's policies or the president's way of thinking, or sometimes they just feel like their values are not aligned with the direction their current employer is taking.
On the flip side, there are probably people who leave because they don't see eye to eye with President Shirakawa.
I suppose so.
I think that kind of mobility is actually a good thing, personally.
I don't recall that happening since I've been involved. There have been cases where someone couldn't stay with us and another company took them in. But as for leaving because another place is better, well, everyone knows the deal. The people who stay with us do so because they like it here. I'm grateful for that. They know which companies pay more or where they can earn more, but they say they just can't handle that kind of grueling work.
So in the end, it's like they're aligning themselves with ohe.horse's management policy.
It's really about finding the right fit for everyone involved. If anyone were to leave us, now or in the future, they'd likely do it early on.
That makes sense. It's better for both parties to figure that out sooner rather than later.
The longer they stay, the more they appreciate what we offer, so they stick around.
When someone wants to get into racehorse transport, there are options, but as you said, the information isn't really out there, like on the internet. In that sense, would you say ohe.horseline is the best place to start a career in racehorse transport?
I'm not so sure. Even now, there are drivers who want to earn as much as possible by driving as much as they can. There are definitely people who choose long-haul driving specifically for the high pay. But I do tell them, if that's what you're looking for, you'd probably be better off at this or that competitor. I actually have those conversations.
Really, does that happen during the application or interview stage?
If I find out before the interview, I'll tell them right then. I'll say, we're not that kind of company. Even if you want to drive more, we won't let you. Because we follow the law. If you want a driving job where you earn more the more you drive, you should join a company that operates that way. There are actually quite a few out there where you can pick and choose your jobs, usually run by a single owner. You can't do that in horse transport though. It's structurally impossible.
In that case, they should look at general freight companies instead of horse transport.
Well, even those companies won't survive much longer.
If they can't follow the rules. There was that loophole where they'd hire employees as independent contractors. I don't think it was a transport company though.
That's becoming a major issue now. The law no longer says you can work someone indefinitely just because they're an independent contractor or their own boss. I mean, I'm an executive and the representative director of ohe.horseline, but my own working hours don't really matter. I could work 365 days without a wink of sleep, but the actual driving time is strictly regulated. It's the same thing. You can't just have someone haul freight indefinitely just because they're an independent contractor. There are all sorts of restrictions.
So, with all these restrictions, things might get less flexible. But the world is improving, right?
Exactly. Overall, in society, jobs where people are treated unfairly or oppressed will likely keep decreasing from now on.
For those thinking of becoming a driver now, it's a time of change. The vision that President Shirakawa has, the picture he's painted is gradually taking shape and it's becoming easier to join. The barrier to entry might be higher, but once you're in, the treatment, the conditions, and the legal requirements are all being properly upheld.
That's right. Especially in our company, the term busy season on site will probably become a thing of the past. Before we pulled out of Sapporo and Hakodate, there were no summer breaks. People who couldn't spend time with their families will now be able to take time off even in autumn, which used to be the peak. It'll become the norm to take breaks. Otherwise, we won't be allowed to operate. We're moving from you might earn well, but it's a tough job to you can earn a bit and still have a decent amount of private time. That's the direction we're heading, and we have to make it happen. Well, that's the general trend in the world anyway, so things will naturally go that way. We need to differentiate ourselves, but we're just one company in a world where everything is improving. Within that new normal, places that were already okay will get even better. Places that were harsh will just become okay. It's just shifting like this. I don't know exactly how, but the this is impossible situations will decrease. For some, even our company was at its limit. But maybe it's become more manageable now.
After all, if you don't follow the law, you could be shut down suddenly. Thinking about that, even if there isn't much info, I'd like people to look at various competitors and then choose to apply to ohe.horseline.
Exactly. That's why we're sharing information like this using social media and other platforms. By speaking out, we want people to know about the horse racing industry itself. It's been a hot topic in dramas lately, and while we want people to know about horse racing, more people are gradually learning that there's a job specifically for transporting horses. As we spread that awareness, it doesn't necessarily have to be our company where they find work or employment opportunities. Once they realize this kind of job exists, I think they'll be able to find other options too.
Having choices, yeah.
Right. Well, if we can be the catalyst for that.
True. Many places are putting out that kind of information now.
I really do think that things are gradually changing for the better these days, especially when you compare it to the time when it was actually impossible to even find us at all.
Right. So changing jobs within the industry is becoming quite normal now, it seems.
Well, since we're okay with it, I think within the industry, it creates mobility, or rather, it becomes the norm. Even among drivers in the same industry, they'll start thinking, oh, it's okay. On the flip side, some people might leave our company too.
Well, if the company is attractive, people will come, and if there are good people, they'll gather.
They might not even need to go home, and in the worst case, they might fall asleep and die, but some might go there because they can earn more, I suppose.
A tea is a personal choice. Well, I guess that's it for today. Thank you very much. So,
Thank you very much. Ohe is looking for drivers. Please check the recruitment site or corporate site in the description. And if you're interested, please apply.